Welcome to another deep dive into the hidden corridors of Hollywood history, where the most fascinating stories are often the ones that never made it to the silver screen. In the vast landscape of the entertainment industry, the concept of the sliding doors moment is perhaps the most captivating phenomenon to explore. We look at our favorite films, the cultural touchstones that define generations, and we assume they were destined to exist exactly as we see them. We imagine that legendary directors and iconic actors were bound by cosmic cinematic fate to create magic. But the reality of movie making is infinitely more chaotic, driven by last-minute decisions, sudden departures, and intense personal boundaries dictating the trajectory of massive projects. Today, we unravel a recently unearthed secret about a blockbuster hit from the mid-2000s, a film that redefined modern comedy and launched its cast into the stratosphere. It is a story about a major actress walking away from a smash hit because of a single controversial scene, a decision that altered her career and handed the role of a lifetime to someone else. It is a testament to how carefully stars must curate their public image and the invisible lines they draw in the sand to protect their brand. To understand the gravity of this casting shakeup, we must transport ourselves back to the cultural zeitgeist of the 2000s. The film industry was undergoing a massive tonal shift in the realm of comedy. For years, audiences were fed a steady diet of glossy romantic comedies, where conflicts were neatly resolved and characters lived in sanitized worlds. But a new wave of filmmakers was emerging, championing a grittier, authentic, and decidedly raunchier style of humor. These movies blended laugh-out-loud jokes with surprisingly tender emotional cores. They explored the messy, awkward, and profoundly human moments of adulthood and unexpected responsibilities. The budgets were relatively modest, but the box office returns were staggering, creating a new gold rush for studios to replicate the formula. For an actor, landing a leading role in one of these trailblazing comedies was essentially a golden ticket to mainstream superstardom. Yet, this new brand of comedy required a level of vulnerability and a willingness to participate in deeply uncomfortable scenarios that not every performer was prepared to embrace. The tension between artistic expression, comedic boundary pushing, and the preservation of a carefully crafted public persona created a hidden battleground behind the scenes. The intricate dance of Hollywood casting is a fiercely guarded process, shrouded in non-disclosure agreements and polite public relations statements. When an actor departs a project, the official narrative usually cites scheduling conflicts or creative differences, vague terms designed to protect talent and the studio from negative publicity. It is incredibly rare for the unvarnished truth to emerge, especially when it involves a clash of personal values and graphic cinematic content. But time has a funny way of loosening lips, and the rise of intimate podcast conversations has created a space where industry veterans finally feel comfortable sharing the raw realities of past projects. Decades after the cameras stop rolling, the true stories behind the making of our favorite films are bubbling to the surface, changing our perspective on the movies we thought we knew. As we prepare to delve into the details of this extraordinary casting revelation involving a beloved comedic actor and an Oscar-winning superstar who simply could not film an explicit sequence, we invite you to join our growing community. If you are captivated by the untold stories of cinema and the hidden mechanics of fame, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Ensuring you never miss our in-depth explorations, our story centers around a cultural phenomenon released in the summer of 2007. A film that perfectly encapsulated the chaotic transition from carefree youth to the daunting responsibilities of adulthood. Directed by a visionary filmmaker rapidly becoming the undeniable king of modern comedy, the project boasted a modest $25 million budget but carried massive expectations. It told the incredibly relatable story of an unlikely pairing, two completely different people forced together by a sudden, life-altering event following a wildly irresponsible night out. The script was a masterpiece of observational humor, balancing outrageously crude dialogue with a profound exploration of maturity and the terrifying prospect of parenthood. The leading male role was occupied by an actor rapidly becoming the lovable face of this new comedy movement. Finding the perfect leading lady proved to be an entirely different challenge. The character required a delicate balance of ambitious professionalism, sharp wit, and deep emotional resonance. The studio aimed high, seeking an actress who could bring grounded reality and undeniable star power to the role, ultimately casting one of the most promising young talents in the industry. This actress was well on her way to becoming Hollywood royalty. She was meticulously building a career defined by grace, versatility, and an undeniable charm that resonated with audiences across the globe. Transitioning from family films to mature roles, she was acutely aware of the image she was projecting to the world. Her brand was one of elegance and sophisticated relatability, a carefully calibrated persona commanding immense respect. When she accepted the leading role in this highly anticipated comedy, it seemed like a brilliant strategic move to showcase her comedic timing alongside the reigning champions of the genre. Pre-production began, rehearsals were fully underway, and the cast was actively building the crucial chemistry required to carry the emotional weight of the narrative. Everything was proceeding smoothly until the realization set in regarding the visual execution of the film's climax. The script called for a sequence undeniably central to the plot, a moment of profound physical reality that the director intended to capture with unflinching detail. While it was not a scene requiring actual nudity, since special effects prosthetics would handle the visual burden, the sheer thematic raunchiness and extreme visual nature of the moment struck a discordant note. The realization that this graphic sequence would forever be associated with her cinematic legacy pushed her toward an agonizing decision. The precise moment a major film project starts to fracture behind closed doors is rarely captured by cameras, but the shockwaves are felt by everyone involved. The production was moving forward with immense momentum, and the chemistry between the leading actors was already developing during early table reads and initial scene work. The movie in question was the iconic comedy Knocked Up, a project destined to become a defining cinematic touchstone of the late 2000s. At the center of this burgeoning production was the brilliant emerging filmmaker Judd Apatow, who was hot off the massive success of his directorial debut and looking to solidify his unique brand of hyper-realistic, emotionally grounded, and deeply raunchy humor. Star and co-creator Seth Rogen was fully immersed in bringing his trademark slacker charm to the role of Ben Stone. Opposite him, rehearsing the scenes and preparing to dive into the chaotic world of unexpected parenthood, was the immensely talented 24-year-old Anne Hathaway. The young actress, fresh off massive acclaim, was viewed by the creative team as a massive casting coup, someone who could elevate the script and provide a perfect, sharp contrast to the slovenly, carefree lifestyle of Rogen's character. However, as rehearsals progressed and the logistics of the shooting schedule began to take concrete shape, the reality of the script's most extreme demands came into sharp focus. The narrative arc of Knocked Up hinges entirely on the journey toward a life-altering birth, a culmination that Judd Apatow insisted must be portrayed with an unprecedented level of visceral, unflinching authenticity. The director did not want to rely on the traditional, sanitized Hollywood tropes of childbirth, where a mother looks perfectly manicured and the entire process is completed in a matter of seconds. Apatow wanted the audience to experience the true, messy, and terrifying chaos of the delivery room. To achieve this, the production team planned a highly graphic sequence depicting the precise moment of birth, focusing heavily on the visual reality of the baby crowning. Although the scene was designed to be executed entirely through the use of advanced prosthetic models and did not require any actual physical nudity from the actress herself, the sheer visual intensity and raunchiness of the concept proved to be the ultimate breaking point for Hathaway, looking at the trajectory of her rapidly growing career. This specific sequence presented a profound dilemma. The details of this legendary Hollywood departure finally came to light during an incredibly candid conversation on a recent episode of the A24 Podcast. Seth Rogen, now 44 years old and a seasoned industry veteran, sat down with filmmaker and actress Olivia Wilde to discuss the strange twists and turns of cinematic history. Olivia Wilde, who happens to be 42, and was actually among the group of talented actresses who originally auditioned for the role of Allison Scott back in the mid-2000s, listened intently as Rogen peeled back the layers of the production's biggest secret. Rogen directly confirmed that it was indeed Anne Hathaway who was originally cast and who ultimately made the difficult choice to walk away from the movie just as filming was preparing to commence. Reflecting on the situation, Rogen recalled being told that the graphic birthing scene was the singular catalyst for her departure, noting with his characteristic honesty that crowning is undeniably a tough and highly sensitive thing to portray on a massive cinema screen. It became clear that while the production viewed the scene as a masterstroke of raw comedy, Hathaway perceived it as a massive risk that did not align with the professional identity she was cultivating. Rogen explained that during their rehearsals, it became increasingly apparent that Hathaway felt this specific type of visceral, raunchy presentation was completely outside of her established brand. She was acutely aware that even though the audience would technically be looking at a sophisticated piece of special effects makeup rather than her actual body, the cinematic illusion would link her face and identity to one of the most graphic moments in modern comedy history. Rogen recounted that she simply did not want the crowning of the baby to be visually representative in that particular manner. When the pressure of the impending shoot forced a final decision, Hathaway chose to trust her instincts, stepping away from a guaranteed blockbuster to preserve her personal and professional boundaries. Looking back on the situation decades later, Rogen expressed immense respect for her conviction, noting that she possessed an incredible sense of self and knew exactly what was not right for her at that time. He gracefully admitted that history has proven her instincts to be incredibly sharp, laughing that she has been right about a lot more things than he has over the course of their respective Hollywood journeys. The sudden vacancy of the leading lady role sent the production team into a frantic scramble, forcing Judd Apatow and his casting directors to reevaluate their options under immense time pressure. The role required someone who could step in immediately, embrace the raunchy humor without hesitation, and deliver a performance that felt both authentic and incredibly endearing. It was at this crucial juncture that Katherine Heigl entered the picture, ultimately landing the role of Allison Scott and turning it into a career-defining performance. Rogen emphasized that Heigl proved to be the absolute perfect fit for the movie, bringing an incredible energy and a fearless approach to the material. She understood the assignment perfectly, embracing the chaos of the delivery room sequence with open arms and helping to create a comedic masterpiece. The transition from Hathaway to Heigl stands as one of the most successful casting shifts in Hollywood history, proving that what initially looks like a devastating production crisis can sometimes result in absolute cinematic perfection. Leaving both actresses to pursue paths that were perfectly tailored to their unique talents, the release of Knocked Up on June 1, 2007 marked a massive turning point for modern cinema, instantly transforming its ensemble cast into household names. Produced on a relatively modest budget of $25 million, the film resonated deeply with critics and audiences alike, showcasing the incredible chemistry between Rogen and Heigl, while also serving as a launching pad for an incredible supporting cast that included Jonah Hill, Paul Rudd, Jason Segel, and Leslie Mann. The movie defied box office expectations, raking in a staggering $219 million worldwide, and proving that audiences were hungry for comedies that balanced outrageous, adult-oriented humor with genuine heart. The massive global success of the project solidified Judd Apatow's status as the premier comedy architect of his generation, eventually spawning the highly successful 2012 quasi-sequel This Is 40, which continued to explore the messy realities of aging and family life. Yet, beneath the layers of box office data and critical acclaim, the lingering question of what the film would have looked like with Anne Hathaway remained a fascinating footnote, a testament to the unpredictable nature of creativity and the fine line between artistic compromise and career longevity. The passage of time has a remarkable way of putting career decisions into perspective, transforming what once seemed like a risky professional gamble into a moment of profound personal clarity. Seth Rogen's recent reflections on the set of the A24 podcast arrived at a highly symbolic moment in Anne Hathaway's life, highlighting the fascinating parallels between the cinematic worlds actors inhabit and the deeply personal realities they navigate behind closed doors. Just weeks before Rogen shared these nostalgic behind-the-scenes memories with the public, the 43-year-old Oscar-winning actress delighted her millions of global followers by announcing that she is expecting her third child with her longtime husband, Adam Schulman. The couple, who have been happily married since their beautiful autumn wedding in the scenic region of Big Sur, California, back in 2012, are already dedicated parents to their two young sons, 10-year-old Jonathan and 6-year-old Jack. This joyous new chapter in Hathaway's life adds a layer of beautiful irony to the historical narrative of her walking away from a movie about unexpected pregnancy due to the raw reality of its birthing sequence. Anne Hathaway chose to share her wonder, full family news with the world through a beautifully minimalist Instagram video on June 19th, giving her supportive global fanbase a heartwarming first look at her growing baby bump. In the elegant clip, the actress chose the classic Barbara Lewis track, Baby, I'm Yours, to soundtrack the reveal, utilizing the sweet melody to perfectly express her joy while also using the song's title as the simple, loving caption for her post. At the very end of the short video snippet, Hathaway flashes a radiant, unmistakably genuine grin at the camera before gracefully walking out of the frame, showcasing the effortless poise and radiant confidence that have come to define her public presence over the decades. Since making the happy announcement, she has captured the attention of the global fashion community, confidently stepping out in an array of stunning, high-fashion maternity looks that emphasize her personal joy and timeless style, proving that she remains firmly in control of her public narrative and the unique personal brand she fought so hard to protect early in her career. The journey to expanded parenthood has been far from simple for the acclaimed actress, who has frequently chosen to use her massive platform to speak with refreshing, authentic candor about the complex realities of fertility and motherhood. During an incredibly revealing and deeply personal conversation with WSJ Magazine back in March of 2022, Hathaway openly pulled back the curtain on her experiences, admitting that she could easily see her family expanding, but noting the dangerous cultural tendency to portray pregnancy and childbirth in a highly sanitized, universally positive light. She emphasized from her own deeply private experiences that the path to welcoming a child is often infinitely more complicated, emotional, and physically demanding than popular culture or glossy Hollywood narratives choose to acknowledge. Hathaway shared that entering the world of motherhood fundamentally altered her approach to living for the absolute better, stating that she did not feel fully grounded or fully present in her own skin until she became a mother. She explained that having children instilled an unshakable desire to be completely true to her word on every single level, motivating her to strip away any internal pretense or nonsense. This fierce commitment to authenticity and protection extends heavily to how she guards her family's privacy, maintaining a firm boundary between her glittering professional life and the sacred domestic world she shares with her children. Speaking to Porter magazine in late 2023, Hathaway articulated the philosophy behind keeping her family out of the harsh Hollywood spotlight, explaining that protecting her children's privacy is completely essential for her health and the collective well-being of her household. She noted that she views her family as a tightly knit team where decisions are never just about her personal desires, emphasizing that children have a fundamental right to be able to define their own lives without the heavy burden of public scrutiny. She expressed immense gratitude for how beautifully her career and her family life serve one another, but firmly insisted that they must only connect through her as an individual, rather than through an exposed public space outside of herself. This unwavering commitment to her personal boundaries mirrors the exact same strength of character she demonstrated 2 decades ago when she walked away from the set of Knocked Up. Looking at the spectacular trajectory of her career since that fateful decision in 2007, history has undeniably validated Hathaway's instincts to stay entirely true to her brand. She has successfully navigated the turbulent waters of the entertainment industry, transitioning effortlessly from romantic comedies and dramatic masterpieces to earning an Academy Award, all while maintaining her status as one of the most respected and bankable names in Hollywood. Her recent professional endeavors continue to hit historic highs, following the massive global success and widespread critical acclaim of The Devil Wears Prada 2, which delighted multiple generations of fans. Looking firmly toward the future, Hathaway is set to captivate global theater audiences once again in the highly anticipated cinematic epic The Odyssey, sharing the silver screen with an extraordinary powerhouse ensemble cast that includes Matt Damon, Charlize Theron, Zendaya, and Robert Pattinson. This major upcoming project stands as yet another testament to her enduring star power and her impeccable ability to choose projects that elevate her standing in the global cultural landscape. Ultimately, the revelation of Anne Hathaway's sudden departure from Knocked Up serves as a beautiful reminder of the intricate human dynamics that shape the art we consume. It shows that the decisions made in the early stages of a career, driven by personal intuition and an unyielding respect for one's own boundaries, can create ripples that lead to absolute success for everyone involved. Seth Rogen's warm, respectful praise, decades after the fact, demonstrates that true professionalism in Hollywood is built on mutual respect and the understanding that every artist must follow their own North Star. The intersection of Hathaway's current real-life journey into motherhood and the iconic movie role she left behind highlights the beautiful complexity of a life lived entirely on one's own terms. As she prepares to welcome her 3rd child into a loving,